This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Welcome to a VO's Padded Room podcast. So put on your straitjackets and join Big Jim and Brad Storm as they probe inside the mind of a new guest each week. So strap up and let's do this.
Our guest this week on a VO's Padded Room podcast will be in voiceover until the wheels fall off. A skateboarding enthusiast, our guest has not only succeeded as a VO artist, but as a multimedia professional as well. 20 plus years of experience behind your belt is a true reflection of one's love for the craft. And BMW, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Hilton Hotels, Procter & Gamble, and IBM are just a few of the most notable brands he has lent his voice to. You want consistency and reliability? Then look no further, because it's time to get strapped in the padded room as voiceover career coach and Telly Award Winning voice, Mike Hathcote gets locked in and mic'd up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, I got to go to the hospital now. I'm just kidding.
Seriously, man, you need to switch to decaf or something.
5 Hour Energy is all the way, bud. 5 Hour Energy. You ever done a spot with 5 Hour?
No, I've not. You know what? I don't even drink. I don't do any caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I don't do any energy drinks. Nothing. I'm pure as the driven.
Oh, no green tea or anything, huh?
Every now and then I'll do some tea, but it's very rare.
Natural energy going.
You are an adrenaline junkie. I mean, let's face it. Skateboarding is an adrenaline fueled sport. And so, we're going to take you back in time, like we like to do.
At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts.
And we'll talk about your youth and when you discovered that you had the talent for voiceover and maybe audio engineering as well, and perhaps skateboarding.
Well, started skateboarding way before I started doing VO stuff, but I think I started skateboarding when I was about 10. Sears catalog, banana board, the whole thing, riding up and down the driveway. And then, fast forward to about maybe fifth or sixth grade, I actually discovered, what I consider to be real skateboarding, which is, doing the tricks and the stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And so, once that got me, I was hooked. And I did other little, quote unquote action sport things. I raced BMX bikes and stuff and did some freestyle BMX. But as soon as I took to skateboarding, it all encompassing. It just took me, and I was hooked for the rest of my life.
Were you a skater, vert, or what would your preference?
Vert. Yeah, I used to skate vert and the occasional pool.
Oh, okay.
The only street skating I really did in my formative years was actually skating down the street to the next door neighbor's house or whatever. But
yeah.
I kind of, I'm of that era where it was really all about vertical skating, backyard half pipes and stuff like that.
Yeah, searching for Animal Chin and all that stuff. And then I know you remember that one. And
yep.
The Bones. Yeah. See, I was a street skater back, early 90s and stuff. So back, when Plan B was real big and Girl,
yep.
Well, I guess Girl came along,
yeah. Girl Chocolate.
Pat Duffy and
yep.
Frankie Hill. Yeah, back then, Eric Costin was just coming on the scene and stuff like that. And so we got into the technical, the hard flip crowd, all that stuff. And, but yeah, vert was something I wasn't good at, man.
It definitely, you got to be willing to fall down a lot. And, I'm at like 14 broken bones at this point. So I've done it and fallen plenty of times. And so, but that's how you get better. Right. And I think that translates into lots of other areas of life, voiceover, for instance, right? I mean, you've got to go out there and you've got to, leave the cave and kill something and drag it home. And if you miss one time, you just got to keep going and keep going and keep going until you actually get one. And that's what skateboarding kind of taught me, was that perseverance of, you get knocked down, get up and keep going.
Yeah, you got to commit to whatever trick it is, for sure.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think too, with like your upbringing, if your family unit, if they kind of help you push you along and say, hey, not everything's going to be easy. And if you want something bad enough, you gotta struggle. I mean, there's so many people in life that give up on things because they just don't look at the bigger picture. And they just don't have it inside of themselves to go, well, do I sit on the couch all day and watch TV and watch 8 episodes of this show, or do I put in the work and try to make my dreams come
Anything
true?
worth doing is worth doing right, and you got to put in the time. Nothing comes easy.
No. And I think a lot of people too, they see people in high up places and they're like, oh yeah, that happened fast for them. But not in actuality. It's been probably a long, arduous journey for you. Why don't you talk about, like, as you were getting into your young adult years, and did you go to college?
Did not go to college. I toyed with the idea, and I'll be honest, I just wasn't really a good student in high school. So I hit the job market pretty much immediately. Although there were a few years there that I did kind of do the skateboard thing on a competitive level, which obviously college doesn't really jive with that. But
right.
I found radio pretty early on. In 95 was when I actually got my first job in radio, and that's kind of where I got the VO bug.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, and I'd ever since puberty, I had people tell me, your voice, you've got a good voice, or you
got a great voice.
Yeah, and so I didn't think much about it. What are you going to do with that? But then I decided in '95 that I would just try my luck at it, and did that for several years as an actual on-air DJ, and it was fun. But then I got the opportunity to go off and do the skateboarding thing on a more competitive level. And I figured while I was young and able to do that, and my skills were still there, that I would go do that.
How old were you?
I guess I was probably, 23 in 95.
Yeah,
so
perfect age.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was, while I was young and breakable, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go do this. And so I did it. I still picked up some VO work here and there, just, word of mouth stuff, but I didn't really focus on it. And then fast forward to about 10 years ago, I decided, you know what, I don't want to work for the man anymore. I don't want to, trade my hours for money. And so I decided to do this full time.
So you did go back to radio, though. You went back to radio after you...
No, I kind of got sidetracked and didn't really go back into the radio field. I was just doing VO work,
periodically.
Yeah, just sporadically, word of mouth and this kind of thing. And then I was like, you know what? I think I can do this for real. And so I decided to leave the corporate world. And
now, were you skating with any teams at that point, like real or like you say competitive level?
Pal Peralta. Yeah, I skated for Pal. I used to work the way I got hooked up with Pal. If you know who Mike McGill is, he has a shop, or he has a chain of shops now, skate shops. But one of his very first shops was in Florida, and I used to go down there in the 80s when my grandparents were still with us for months at a time. And I ended up hanging out at his shop so much that he put me to work. And so that was kind of my first little hookup was from Pal.
Learning the McTwist and everything.
Oh, I never learned that. But
what was the gnarliest crash you ever had skateboarding?
Oh, goodness. Out of the 14 broken bones, I'd say that there are two that kind of tie. One just happened back in March of this year.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, you had one recent happen to you it's probably feeling it now. You're older.
Yeah. Back in March, I slammed really hard at a park here locally, and I broke 4 ribs and punctured my lung.
Oh, God.
And spent a couple days in the hospital with that and stuff. So that's one. And then back in 2013, I severely broke my left leg at a bowl across town, and had to have surgery and all kinds of stuff done to it. And so 2 surgeries actually. But so those 2 tie for the worst, but there's been plenty more.
And everybody, if you go to Mike's Instagram page at Mike Hathcote, go give him a follow there. I mean, there's a park right there that I could see pictures of you getting ready to skate. Was that the park you hurt yourself at?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure which one you're looking at, but I'm not.
It's one of your newer pictures on the Instagram page. And I think you have a red helmet. I can't remember, gray.
I posted one recently where I did fall, but it wasn't. This was back in March. I might have posted. I didn't post any footage of the actual fall, but I also converted my backyard pool into a skateboard pool.
Oh, cool.
I've broken a bone or two in there as well.
We talk about, as far as skateboarding has evolved over time, and so has voiceover. When you started back 10 years ago, let's say 2012, a lot has changed in the voiceover industry. How have you kept up on trends and stayed top of mind with clients that you have and potential clients for the future?
There's no magic bullet, obviously, to get to the top of Google or to, connect with as many, production houses as you can. I attribute that to just staying in the loop from the thought leaders in the voiceover community. Whether it be, JMC or Ann Ganguza or Mark Scott or, any of the people who, kind of put that content out there, just being plugged into the industry on the backside of things, I think helps kind of propel people forward. I didn't know what I was doing as far as marketing goes. I mean, social media I wouldn't say it was new at that point, but it was new trying to go out and beat the bushes and actually make a living. So yeah, I think just being plugged into the VO community and not kind of isolating yourself and just being able to pick up those trends.
And Mike too, I think with your past experience in radio, you probably had some connections in that realm.
Not as much as you would think.
No.
In fact, I had to unlearn
a
whole lot of stuff that I learned in radio because it's not about being a polished, slick announcer type anymore.
No.
It's more about being real and natural and conversational and stuff. You don't have to sound like the radio guy, and be all slick and polished. So I had to forget a lot of that.
And that's a challenge.
I mean, I can still tap into it because every now and then somebody will ask for that type of read.
Yeah.
But it's very few and far between. So I can still get it when I need to, but most of all, it's got to be, natural.
And so you got into voiceover. It's 2012 and the years are going on. And you also have a love for being an audio engineer. That's not everybody's cup of tea. But, Jim and myself, we love it. I think it's great. I feel like as an audio engineer, you're an artist. You're an audio artist, right? How did you discover that side of the business? And
just necessity, really. I mean, these days you have to wear all the hats. It's not the 80s where you can have an engineer that goes and, pretties up your work after you're done recording. You have to do it all, unless you want to hire someone to do it for you, which I do know people who do that. Which I think is just pointless in my opinion. I mean, once you're proficient at it, you can really go fast and,
right.
Get things taken care of. But I've just always enjoyed, getting my hands dirty in all aspects of whatever it is I'm into, whether it be skateboarding or whatever. I mean, not only did I love skateboarding, I love to compete, and I worked in the industry for a while. I owned my own skateboard park. Worked for the X Games, so if I'm into something, I'm all in, no matter what that entails. So that's kind of why and I like the video editing piece of it too. So there's audio production and then you got to put the video to it and stuff. And so I enjoy all that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I mean, ironically funny you say that because I remember coming to you, Lee, 4 years ago, I guess it was, and not knowing a thing about Adobe Audition, as far as the DAW that I use. Now, I'm teaching advanced, stuff on it, and as well as the video, the Final Cut Pro, I remember coming to you asking, dude, where do I start?
Yeah.
And I notice you're coaching now as well. And it makes sense because you really broke it down. You didn't get frustrated with me. You were like, look, and you made it real simple, as far as to do that. So, I appreciate you for, getting me going as well in the video and audio engineering aspect of it.
Well, like I said before, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of what you've been doing in the time since we first met. And it always gives me a little bit of a, little point of pride when I see somebody that I've worked with go on and be successful doing whatever it is.
Awesome thing. I got to make sure these shows sound good or you're going to kick my ass.
Get over here.
If it's as good as the ones I've heard, it's going to be just fine.
Thanks.
you've been a great help to Jim. Like, who's been a great help to you as far as you getting better at the craft?
Gosh, too many names to name.
Yeah.
I'm to the point now where I still need, I don't need as much coaching as I used to when I first started. And I think anybody who starts in this business should heavily focus on coaching at the beginning. And then there will be a time where you don't need as much and you just need a little tune-up here and there. Yes, I am a voiceover coach, but I also go and get coaching from some of the people that I mentioned earlier, right?
Right, right.
And so, but I think the one person who has probably given me the most guidance would be Bill DeWeese. I found him early on when I was kind of transitioning back into modern voiceover and not the radio side of things. And, he's got a really good ability to break things down into small, bite-sized, digestible chunks, which is kind of how I try to, model my own coaching. And, he's generally interested in your success. And so he I think has guided me more than anyone else. But like I said, Jay Michael's great. I've worked with him a few times. Mark Scott. I had a session not too long ago with Marilyn Wisner. So there's so many good people to reach out to if you're looking to kind of up your game.
I think that's a big tale of the story as far as voiceover is concerned. You see a lot of voice actors that have made it big. I mean, or made it to heights where it's self-sustaining. Their business is self-sustaining itself. They're all positive people. They all are hustlers, as far as like putting in the work.
Yeah.
And they all get coaching from other talented voice actors that are, maybe above their level.
Yeah.
And I think that is key. I mean, because, branding's important, but if you can't you can't act if you're not comfortable around your mic and the proximity of your mic and how to change your tones and the different styles. You got to go through so much trial and error to find your niche, first of all.
Yeah.
Right. So these things are important, and it's just a long, long journey.
It really is. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Jay Michael or Bill DeWeese or anybody. No one knows it all. And so it's always a good idea to reach out to people, whether it be your peers or whoever, to get that second opinion or third opinion in some cases, because you all know, I mean, doing VO, it can be hard to self-direct. I mean, you got to do it. I mean, you can't always have a coach there every time you're doing a read, or an audition. But I find that if I go through a little spell where I maybe am not booking as much as I think I should or could, then maybe it's time to tighten the screws a little bit. And I'll book a session just to because we can all fall into patterns that become ingrained after a while, right? So you need to kind of shake things up and get out of that to kind of get a fresh take. And then all of a sudden, hey, what do you know? I'm booking again.
Especially when trends change,
Yeah.
And it seems like that's doing quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
But, like you said, you got to be able to self-direct. I mean, to be able to self-direct, you got to know how to break down the scripts. You got to know what tone you need to use. There's a lot of things that go into that. And they all take time, and getting the best coaching is great. And you offer coaching as well. What has been one of the most successful coaching experiences you've had with one of your students?
This guy right here. I'm just kidding.
No, I would put you up there, man.
Right on.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've worked with so many at this point. I think I worked with a gentleman named Gerald Nicholson. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gerald or not.
No.
We did several packages of coaching, like very intensive coaching. Put together a couple of demos and stuff. And he was very green, really wanted to, kind of make the transition out of his day job into full-time. And we worked intensively for months and months. And he's the one that I kind of point to a lot of times when I say, look what I did. I'm not saying I did it all for him, but I'm just saying, I knew him when, because now he is killing it in VO. He is the signature voice of the Black News Channel.
Nice.
On Direct TV or all the cable things.
Yeah.
It's a 24/7 news channel that's African American, And so he is the signature voice of that, the promo voice of that. So he does all their lead-ins and promos and stuff like that. And he is just crushing it right now. And he did leave his other job and is doing this full time and
that's great.
Not looking back. So there's plenty like him, but he's the one that I kind of, when somebody asks me that question, like, which one is the one that you want to point to? That would be the one.
Well, it's like actions speak louder than words. And now you taught this guy and he's reaching these accolades and you're like, well, I don't have to say a word. Look at him. He's doing great. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
Let the games begin! Let the games begin! Let the games begin!
Oh yeah, we know what that sound means. That's right, it's time for another round of a VO's Padded Improv. Today we have a script for you that... Wait, what? What? You gotta be freaking kidding me. You gotta be freaking... A PSA? What? Well then, today we have a PSA for you to read. So when you're ready, the mic is yours.
Hello, I'm Mike Hathcote. Do you know that there are people starving every single day who don't know where their next meal will come from? People struggling every day to find work. They're called voice actors. And for just 42 cents a day, you too can make a difference in their lives. For just 42 cents a day, you can help someone like Tim here move out of his overcrowded walk-in closet studio, which he shares with 30 other voice actors.
And I don't have all day. Where's the baby?
Poor Tim. Can't even find work on Fiverr right now. And he just recently became top seller eligible. TRS, here I come. But Tim was demoted.
What?
Demoted to level 1 because his response time sucks. Or take Billy here, for example. You may recognize Billy's epic narrations. Every day, thousands of voice actors go hungry. Help voice actors like Timmy, or little Billy here, to get an occasional sandwich, mac and cheese, or even a cup of ramen noodles. Call now before we lose Tim and others to malnutrition, starvation, or God forbid, going back to their old jobs. So please, call now to adopt a voice actor. It's only 42 cents a day. It's less than the cost of a cup of coffee. And if you call in the next 20 minutes, you'll receive this special pop filter and dog clicker. Call now. Call and pledge your 42 cents a day and help out those like Timmy or little Billy to get the nourishment they need to make their dreams come true.
No. I know. I was looking for mine. I lost it.
I got one right here, man. I have worn this thing out. I broke the button off of it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez. Rapid fire.
It used to have like a texture to it, and it's all slick now.
Yeah, we found ours.
Yep. I can't record without this thing in my left hand. It's like OCD or something.
Nice. That was great. That was awesome. That was awesome, Mike.
That was good. It was like, I don't know if I want to fund any voice actors though. That's less competition if they don't make it, right?
Right. Yeah, I guess so. I don't look at it like that. In fact, here's a funny story.
That's what I was going to ask you too, Mike. Competition. What's it all about?
My mom always asks me, she's like, why are you coaching other voice actors to do the work, that you do? Because that's competition for you. You're training your competition. And I'm like, look, there is so much work out there.
Yeah, there is.
For everybody. I mean, there's enough to go around and then some. And so if I can help someone else get to the point where they can live the dream and, quit their day job or whatever and do this full time, I'm all about that. I mean, it's just paying it forward.
Yeah, life's too short. It's like we can't all be paranoid all the time about everything. And social media sometimes does that. Sometimes it paints a false picture of people's lives too. I mean, some people take pictures on their happiest moments and that's it, Yep. You just got to be able to tune it out and, have tunnel vision in voiceover. Have that tunnel vision where you're going to focus and put your time in, get those auditions, get on rosters and do the right thing.
Yep.
As far as the right thing too, we talked about Fiverr, right? What are your thoughts with like Fiverr and Upwork and People Per Hour. What do you think about those platforms?
I mean, there's a place for those, I think. I know they've gotten kind of a bad rap, but there's definitely a place for them. And I think the industry as a whole is starting to turn the tide a little bit. I think for years and years, people thought it was just low-end work, and it was driving down rates. And that might have been possibly true to a point. But I think now, I know plenty of people on there who are getting industry rates. Now, I don't know anything about People Per Hour, but, I am on Upwork and pretty decent rates on there. But you kind of have to work for it.
Right. You got to find them.
Yeah, you got to find them. You got to cultivate them. You've got to, obviously provide good work and kind of work your way up the ranks or whatever, the totem pole. But
pay your dues.
The rates are there. Somebody who's doing YouTube videos, which we've all gotten, offers for that kind of stuff. If somebody's paying low end money for work like that, there are people who will do it, right? That doesn't mean you have to do it.
Exactly.
You can pass on that, and that's fine. So yeah, that's kind of, I think, of the freelance platforms. I think there's a place for those, especially if you're new.
I think with the freelance platforms too, if you're new, you got to learn too what you don't want to take and what you do want to take as far as pricing's concerned. Because a lot of times you don't have a clue, right? And so you do these jobs and like, oh my God, this sucks.
Yeah.
I spent like 10 hours on this job. I got paid $10.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you learn that through trial and error. And I think that's what those platforms, that $5 price point, 10, whatever it is, to start with is good. I mean, I think, and Mike's right, and I know my prices are set a lot higher as well after several years in the business.
Yeah, it's totally doable. You just have to start at the bottom and kind of work your way up. But I kind of think of it, those kind of platforms are kind of like the minor leagues, right?
Right. Understandable.
You kind of you get experience working with scripts, recording, editing, working with clients, and delivering. And that's kind of the training field for when you actually want to move on and start working with bigger name clients and, direct work and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, as far as those freelance sites, they've helped me learn to be a business person. I didn't have any of those skills leaving the fire department. I didn't have to run my own business. Usually people called us. I didn't have to call them. And, it taught me how to run my business, how to communicate with people worldwide.
Yeah.
And how to say no.
How to say no. Yeah. Well, you got to get to that point too.
Nothing feels better than turning somebody down. Yeah. Well, I mean, being able to just be like, no, thanks, I'm good. And
knowing your worth.
Nothing feels better than doing that. I know your worth. Exactly. You know what you're capable of and what your time and here's the 3 T's. When people ask me, how do I, justify my rates? And I always say the 3 T's, and that's your time, your training, and your talent. Those 3 T's are what you have to work with. And so it's worth something. Don't sell yourself short.
It all has to do with confidence, Mike.
It's not tequila, titties, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got to be confident in your training and, everything else that goes along with it to be able to do those kind of things. And if you want to be a success in voiceover in 2022, is business to business the strategy you want to go after? You want to go contact marketing firms, advertising agencies, production houses? Is that what you want to do?
If you're wanting to kind of break away from the pay to plays and the freelance sites, then yes, you have to go direct. I've sworn off pay to plays. Don't even get me on my high horse about pay to plays and how they operate. But going direct, the work is most of the time more plentiful, pays more, and it's just more freeing. Like, being able to just work back and forth without, working within the confines of some platform or rules and regulations or whatever. Just being able to just go back and forth is so nice to be able to do that. And typically, like I said, the pay is better for less work, compared to those other type sites.
And communication is always open. You can always reach out to your client.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me with this tone. Can you explain it to me in a meeting or something? It's hard to do that. I don't know about the this generation of voiceover actors, the younger generation, they're really good with messaging back and forth. That was something that wasn't my skill set. You know, I'd rather talk to somebody and get my point across.
We can do it all the way, you know, all the different ways. Mostly it's via email. You know, if you don't understand something, just shoot an email back. Say, what did you mean by that? Or how do you pronounce this one word? You know, that kind of thing. And they're usually just fine with that. And it's just so, I mean, I'd say 90% of my work is direct work. The other 10 being platform related stuff.
Yeah. And that's where that is where you want to be. That is where you want to be. You want to be in control of your own business, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be able to, like, the money you earn is the money you earn. Nobody's taking a certain percentage.
Right.
If you're not outside of working with agents, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that is where you're going to get more of the higher, not only higher paying clients, but also the bigger name brands.
Right.
Right. Your BMWs, your Microsofts, you're not going to find those on Fiverr.
No.
Right.
No.
You're going to, have to go either to an agent or to a pretty high profile production house to get those.
And build a relationship.
Yes, for sure.
Now, part of that 90%, is that agencies as well?
Yeah, I would lump that into the same, they're just not platforms,
Yeah.
I say that 90% would also be like, just rosters and things like that. Things that you don't have to set up a profile and deal with it that way. You just get the audition opportunities. Or sometimes this is even better. Sometimes they just come to you and say, here's the job.
Yeah.
There's no audition involved. It's just, here's another one for you. That's a great, once you get into that situation where you literally wake up every day with work in your inbox, which is where I am luckily now.
Yeah.
It's just a great thing because it's just built in.
Yeah.
You just get up and here's what I got to do today.
Now, you did work in TV affiliate broadcasting, right, for voiceover?
No, just the radio. So I did a TV affiliate class with Aaron Bradley and put together
Okay, because I saw that video. I saw that video on your website, or was it YouTube?
It's both. It's on both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did one of those and put video to it. And, I'll be honest, I didn't really get a lot of traction with that. And I thought that I would be a shoo-in for that because of the type of voice that I have. But I just didn't get too far with it. But part of it is because after the first round of emailing every, the 15,000 TV stations or whatever.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it again. So I may get around back to it to do it again, but I don't know. We'll see.
What do you enjoy doing the most?
I'd say I enjoy doing commercial the most. However, I don't do a ton of commercial. I do, once again, talking percentages, I'd say probably 75% of my work is corporate narration, e-learning, that kind of stuff. Not as sexy, but still, pays the bills. But then the last 25% would be more commercial type stuff, which is more fun. It's more lively and, upbeat and fun. So
it's gross too. I saw that video. Jeez.
Yeah. And I've got quite a few.
So is your least favorite medical narration or?
There's quite a few videos that, or quite a few steady clients who are either in the medical field or in the scientific field. Luckily, they provide, phonetic spelling and pronunciations and stuff like that, or links to videos that have the pronunciations.
Oh, thank goodness, yeah.
So you can go in and do
I would love to hear you got to do a bloopers reel on that. That'd be great to hear.
I might do that, actually. I might take one of these ones that's particularly, difficult and just cut a little multi-mix together with just all the people, or all the times I'm like, God,
bleep, bleep, bleep,
yeah, seriously.
Mother, bleep, bleep.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Mike, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I got 2 questions before we go. Your top 3 digital audio workstations.
Top 3. Well, my number 1 always is Adobe Audition.
Yep.
I worked a little bit with Audacity. And I'm, to be honest, not worked at all with any other than GarageBand. That doesn't really count. But,
yeah.
I think my 1, 2, and 3 is Adobe Audition because that's really the one that I have the most, experience with.
Yeah, I enjoy Adobe Audition. I think it's worth every dollar that I spend for it every month.
I think it's the gold standard for VO. I mean, I think if you were to poll all voice actors, I'd say most people use AA.
I think it's
either use AA or go to AA.
No, right? Both.
They go to AA while they're using AA. I think it's AA, Reaper, and Audacity are probably the most common ones I hear about.
Studio One.
I've heard about Logic Pro.
Logic Pro. I know people who use Pro Tools, which I think is just way overkill. I mean, it's just, it's You don't need all that.
Too much.
Van Halen might, but you don't.
Yeah, I tried Luna, but I frisbeed my mic after about 10 minutes. I mean, frisbeed my mouse, not mic. Oh, shit.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Adobe Audition does, it's super powerful, but very intuitive. And, I love it.
What's your favorite skateboarding movie?
Probably.
Say it.
I know you want me to say Animal Chin, but that's not it.
That's my favorite. Do you remember he wrote a couple? Do you remember the Gleaming the Cube? You remember that one?
Yeah, Gleaming the Cube, Thrashing.
Yeah.
Was another one. Lords of Dogtown. I like the documentary style stuff. I like Dogtown and
Tony
Z-Boys.
Hawk's
I like
recent.
The Tony Hawk recent one is fantastic.
That was good.
Till the wheels fall off. Yep.
Till the wheels fall off. Yeah, and that's once again translates into every other area of life. It just so happens that he, is a skater, but you can apply those same things into any other walks of life. The Bones Brigade documentary is incredible.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
So yeah, I like the more documentary style stuff where they actually take you back and you see where everything came from.
Yeah, okay. So let me. What was it? Used to be on Nickelodeon in the 80s and 90s. Do you remember?
Oh, Skate TV.
Skate TV.
Oh,
yes.
With Matthew Lillard, the actor Matthew Lillard, who played Scooby. He played Shaggy.
Yeah.
He also he was in Scream.
He was in Hackers.
Yeah, Hackers.
Without a paddle.
But that was one of his first acting gigs, was hosting that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Go back and look at it, and there's clips on YouTube you can check out. But yeah, he went by Matthew Lynn.
And then I think in the 90s, it went to all the camera demo style videos after that. The team videos and the documentary stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, those started in the 80s with Powell, and then everybody started doing their own H Street and Reel and all them. So yeah, that's what progresses skateboarding is people can see other people doing things on video and be like, well, look, it can be done. I can go do that now. Before that, you just saw a photo in a magazine. You didn't know if they made that trick or not.
Yeah.
But on video, you can see them actually do it, and it's more real.
Did you play Tony Hawk the video game?
I dabbled when it first came out. I'm just not a video game guy. I'd rather do the real thing.
Yeah, well, if you're doing the real thing, what the hell? I wouldn't want to do that either.
Yeah.
That's why I played the video game, because I sucked at skateboarding. I used to ride down the hill on my stomach.
Yeah.
We had these steep hills. I hit a curb one time, almost busted my whole face up. It was awesome.
It happens.
So we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for coming on, Mike. You got any shout outs you want to make? You want to plug your website, social media? Go ahead.
Yeah, feel free. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I do have a couple of side hustles I'd like to plug. If that's okay.
Shoot.
I do video demos for people. So if you've got an audio demo that you need to add some video to, I've got a website called vovideos.com where you can see a bunch that I've done for other people, including my own daughters and mine and a bunch of other people. I also started a VO clothing brand called vomerch.com.
Okay.
Shirts kind of like this one.
That's what I was wondering.
vomerch.com, and all kinds of cool little shirts and stuff, and not just shirts, but everything else: mugs, mouse pads, stickers, just all kinds of stuff. So anyway, that's out there as well.
What about you, Big Jim?
Absolutely. BigJimMedia.com is the website. Social media links at Big Jim Media. And y'all, don't forget to adopt a VO. Every little bit helps.
Sally Struthers was taking all the money.
And how about you, Brad?
You can check me out under Brad Storm VO on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Brad Storm voiceover on Facebook. Brad Storm Lanou on LinkedIn. And you can check out the show here on YouTube, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Captivate, and wherever you can stream podcast audio.
And remember, when the day gets long and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face! Oh, yeah.
Yeah! Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.